This is the moment two Houthi drones set their sights on the USS Harry S. Truman, and a single U.S. Navy destroyer had just seconds to respond. Launched from deep inside Yemen, one of the drones climbed high, while the other flew dangerously low, skimming just above the ocean to avoid radar. And these drones weren't just remotely piloted, they were already locked in and charging full speed at the aircraft carrier. That is, until the USS Gravely picked them up first. But the big question was, would they have enough time to stop them? It all started at 3:43 a.m. local time, when a Houthi mobile launcher fired off two SMAD-3 drones into the sky. Unlike the older versions like the Taimu, these drones were built for better range, improved stealth, and maximum surprise. Their target? The USS Harry S. Truman. As they took off, one drone banked northeast and climbed up to 18,000 feet for a high dive strike. Meanwhile, the second drone went the opposite route, hugging the sea surface at just 10 feet above the water, cruising at around 250 kilometers per hour. That gave the Truman strike group about 30 minutes to react. Now, 30 minutes might sound like a decent buffer, but both of these drones were designed to exploit weaknesses in the Navy's defenses. The first ship to detect them wasn't the Truman. It was the USS Gravely, stationed about 20 miles off the port bow on picket duty. The quiet of the mid-watch was shattered when the radar lit up with two fast-moving blips. In that instant, the ship's crew snapped into action, working seamlessly together to find a firing solution to protect the Truman. What followed was a rapid execution of the Navy's air defense playbook known as F2T2EA: find, fix, track, target, engage, and assess. It all begins with the AN Spy-1 radar system. Destroyers like the Gravely are equipped with 3 of these radar arrays, providing 360-degree coverage, from the horizon all the way to the sky overhead. This radar is the backbone of the first phase, detecting anything that moves in the air up to 200 nautical miles out. During the find phase, the spy radar is scanning everything: missiles, drones, aircraft, even birds or clouds. It doesn't matter. It just wants a return signal. But here's where the SMAD-3 tries to get clever. Either by flying super low to stay hidden near the horizon, or by coming in from unusual angles using its 800-kilometer range. On top of that, the drone has a small radar cross-section, about 0.1 square meters, roughly the size of a sheet of printer paper. That makes it hard to track for most radars, but not spy. This radar can spot something as small as a golf ball from over 100 miles away. Once Spy locked onto the two drones, it entered the fix phase. Now it was blasting them with radio waves between 2.5 and 3.7 gigahertz to nail down their exact position, speed, and altitude. Meanwhile, the drones started adjusting their flight paths, switching to internal navigation if GPS failed. Operators on the ground could even update their GPS coordinates mid-flight. That's especially deadly against ships, which are constantly moving because shore-based radars feed real-time data to the drone's controller. But despite all that tech, Spy kept the lock. Then came the track phase. The radar continuously bombarded the drones with signals, updating their position constantly. This info was passed to the Aegis Combat System's command and decision computers, massive systems capable of crunching millions of calculations per second on over 100 airborne contacts at a time. Even with the drones moving at 250 kilometers per hour, Aegis could keep up effortlessly. With solid tracking data, it was time for targeting, where things get a little intense. The Tactical Action Officer, or TAO, now had to choose the right missile for the job. And that's not a one-size-fits-all decision. They could have used an SM-6, but that's a $4 million missile. Way too expensive for a $50,000 drone. Instead, the TAO chose an SM-2 missile, the Navy's go-to air defense weapon for this type of threat. But even then, there are different variants of the SM-2, like Block 3, 3A, 3IB, and I3IC. They're all similar in shape and size, but their guidance systems are designed for specific targets. Some are better at taking out high-diving drones, while others are perfect for sea skimmers. The TAO selected the right one, gave the green light, and the fire inhibit switch was flipped. Within seconds, SM-2 missiles came roaring out of the Mark 41 vertical launch cells at Mach 3.5, over 3 times the speed of sound. At this point, we move into the engage phase. While the missiles are in the air, the spy radar maintains communication with them, sending constant updates to help guide them in. Think of it as the missile checking in every second, "Where am I?" and spy replying, "Turn 5 degrees left." Once the missile got close enough, it entered the terminal phase of flight. This is where another system kicks in, the ANPG-62 radar, part of the Mark 99 fire control system. These radars start blasting the target with 10-kilowatt radar beams at up to 12 gigahertz. The SM-2 seeker is tuned to this frequency and homes in on it like a moth to a flame. Once it gets close enough, about 15 meters from the target, it detonates, sending out 6,000 steel fragments at 2,000 meters per second in every direction. At exactly 3:45 a.m., the Gravely fired the first shots, two SM-2s screaming toward the inbound drones. These missiles cover 5 miles in just 7 seconds. The first one targeted the high-diving drone, climbing toward 16,000 feet, correcting its path in real time. Then, boom! The proximity fuse went off, the fragmentation warhead exploded, and over 3,000 tungsten cubes tore the drone to pieces. The second missile had a trickier job. The sea-skimming drone was hugging the ocean trying to hide in the radar's blind spot, but Spy never lost track. As the missile streaked in, the drone tried to bank away, but it was too late. The SM-2 dove, detonated just ahead of its target, and shredded it with metal fragments. What was left spiraled into the sea and disappeared beneath the surface. After the kills, Spy kept scanning the debris field. Anything that still matched the flight profile of a known threat, missile, drone, or aircraft, was treated as a danger. The Navy doesn't stop firing until the radar is completely clear. But just when the sailors thought it was over, something else was coming. The Houthis had another strike in the works. This time not with cruise missiles or leftover Soviet hardware. Instead, they were launching a new kind of weapon, something often referred to as the poor man's cruise missile. To someone not in the know, the Kasaf 2K might look like a cheap, cobbled-together drone, but in reality, it's a loitering munition. A one-way attack drone that could shift the balance of power, modeled after the Iranian Ababil-T. It's built in Yemen using smuggled Iranian parts. It's basically a flying bomb with wings. Each one carries up to 30 kilograms of high explosives, designed to detonate either 10 to 20 meters above the ground, or slam straight into the deck of a ship. The resulting explosion sprays metal fragments in an 80-meter radius. These things don't need an operator with a joystick. They're programmed with GPS coordinates and use inertial navigation to guide themselves. That means they can be launched in swarms, all without real-time control. They fly to the target and explode. With a range of 100 to 150 kilometers, a flight time of 100 minutes, and a cruising speed of 250 kilometers per hour, they're more than capable of reaching a U.S. Navy task force operating off the coast. They're not fast and they're not stealthy, but they don't need to be. Their real danger lies in numbers. What the Truman Strike Group didn't know was that, hidden away, the Houthis had been stockpiling dozens of these drones. And they were already on their way. This is control lost.